section. Now we'll move on to the last paper for this endowment lecture today, that is Papaya Ghosh Memorial Lecture to be delivered by Professor Laxmikanta Padhi. Is from University of North Bengal, Siliguri, West Bengal.
By remembering the philosophical contribution of Professor Papaya Ghosh and the decision of the executive body of the IPC, let me start with my simple talk on eco-feminist thought. I am very much thankful to the family of IPC. Being a part of this family, I am fortunate enough to say something on ecofeminism. I will be speaking something on the common features of ecofeminism, why is ecology a feminist issue, and some observation or a critical observation on ecofeminism. Then I will give some proposed conclusion. Everything is given in the paper which has already been published in the book. Let me come directly to the very definition of ecofeminism. You see, while there is no central definition of ecofeminism, it is generally believed that it is generally regarded as a feminist approach to ecological ethics. Ecofeminists see the oppression of women and the domination of nature as interconnected or intertwined or interlinked. Ecofeminism does not confine its claims to women, but points to the ways in which the dichotomy between region and nature, body and mind, dualism intersects with further hierarchical mappings. And everybody knows that ecofeminism, it was all started from 1974, and still the debate is going on. But all the texts are here, but none of these texts actually articulate an ecofeminism per se. However, they all provide important historical evidence for the Western association of women with nature. While many feminists agree that ecology is a feminist issue, but they differ over the nature and desirability of ecofeminism. Hence, just as there are varieties of feminisms, so there are varieties of ecofeminism too. And if you go to the history of ecofeminism, you can find that there are two varieties of ecofeminism. One is essentialism and another is constructivist or social construction. Then we know Vandana Shiva, Medha Patekar, and other people in Indian scenario, they are also doing ecofeminism. Even Meera Nanda, they are also doing some kind of ecofeminist thinking in India. But if you go to Indian philosophical culture, you can find that nature is considered as a feminine principle or Vasudha. Janani janmabhumischa swargadapi gariyase. But at one level, nature is symbolized as the embodiment of the feminine principle, and at another level, she is nurtured by the feminine to produce life and provide sustenance. Nature is Prakriti, is inherently active. And Prakriti is characterized by creativity, activity, productivity, diversity in form and aspect, sanctity of life in nature. All things are there, which is where Prakriti is being considered as mother. Now, if you ask me, there are some basic features of ecofeminism. I have mentioned here only 6, but there are a lot of things. If you go to the books of Warwick Fox or Caroline Merchant, you can find it out there. But the very basic features of this ecofeminist thought is it believes in non-dualism and non-hierarchism. And it has a holistic understanding. It believes in particular context. It believes in communitarianism. It also believes in pluralism, and there is a care ethics or ethics of care. But the sharp dualism between the two, I mean, why this ecofeminism says that there is a oppression because of this dualism, and there is sharp dualism is that which is good and bad is man, region, spiritual life and the heavenly world, and that which is less valuable or a source of temptation to evil is women, animals, emotion, physical pleasure and the physical world. These are all kind of prejudices which are there. It has not been started today, but it is a series. There is a series of development which this dualism was started since a long back, and this kind of dualism are there. Now, this dualism between man and nature has allowed the subjugation of the latter by man and given rise to a new worldview in which nature is inert and passive, uniform and mechanistic, separable and fragmented with itself, inferior to be dominated and exploited by man. This kind of dualism has an effect on this kind of thinking. Now, there are 8 connections. If you ask me the question that why ecology is a feminist issue, the simple answer is there are 8 kind of connections which can be made to respond to your question. And these are the connection that historical or casual, conceptual connection, symbolic connection, epistemological, these are the things, it is there in the book, you can go through that. But the point is that, however, there are disagreements about the nature of these connections, whether these are potentially liberating or simply irrational for the continued subordination of women. Then this is, let me come directly to some of the observation on ecofeminism. The first point is that ecofeminist perspective is ethnocentric, it is essentialist, and it is blind to class, ethnicity and other differentiating cleavages. It is ahistorical and neglects the material sphere. This is the assumption made by Jackson, Mirananda and Veena Agrawal. The central challenge to ecofeminist philosophy consists in the notion of situated universals, in contrast to the transcendental or abstract moral principles arrived at through reason alone. For example, in order to care about those oppressed in the basis of race, class or gender issues, one must understand how these categories are social structures and how they inform particular people's lives and experiences. I mean, this is one of the criticism, and the essentialist feature of ecofeminism is situated and contextual because they reflect historically particular real life experiences. They are universal because they express generalizations common to the lives of diverse people situated in different historical circumstances. But the second point is, as an academic discourse, ecofeminism is a part of the field of environmental ethics along with deep ecology and social ecology of Murray Bookchin. But there has been a curious lack of engagement with ecofeminism from feminist academics. It is very rare to find the mention of ecofeminism in women's studies texts. And there are evidence that ecofeminism has not just been ignored, but also silenced. Ecofeminism, because of its predominantly white middle class ethos, was seen as permanently disfigured by essentialism about women and by regional, class and ethnocentrism. Ecofeminism's central structural thesis runs counter to the particular forms in which hugely influential French post-structuralist thought was making its way across the Atlantic. Ecofeminism marginalization had multiple causes, and this has led to a classic case of throwing out the baby with the bathwater. You know, Cameron says in 1999, he says that the term ecofeminism is an insult to the women who put themselves on the line, risked public disapproval, risked even violence and jail. Ecofeminist claims that environmental issues or feminist issues should be stronger than the insight that Western environmentally destructive practices have always taken place in the context of patriarchy. That may be true, but women also participate in patriarchy and its oppressive practices. For example, the cosmetic industry is an excellent example for these practices. The testing of cosmetics on animals is a barbaric and cruel, generally unnecessary practice. And though the issue is complicated by questions of women's bodily disciplines and image in the context of patriarchy, women cannot deny their support of such practices through their buying power. Daniel Dattridge wonders that the feminine principles would imply Daniel Dattridge wonders that what will be the feminine, what the feminine principle would imply for the Dalit, tribals, Muslims, Christians, Sikhs and other minority communities. Furthermore, ecofeminist does not analyze religious control over the women when they discuss that Shakti or Lalita aspect of women. Ecofeminist roles is subjective. It locates the domination of women and nature mainly in ideology, mainly in some kind of ideas, not into the real terms, thereby neglecting the interrelated material sources of dominance based on economic advantage and political power, as well as the gender division of labor and distribution of opportunity. This ecofeminist image of women, in fact, retain the patriarchal stereotypes of what men expect women to be. They freeze women as merely caring and nurturing because instead of expanding the full range of women's human potentialities and abilities, the use of metaphors of women as nurturing, like the earth, and of the earth as female, abound are regressive rather than liberating women. They only reinforce stereotypes. What these views seem to overlook is that the concept of nature, culture and gender are historically and socially constructed and vary across cultures and time. This kind of essentialism presents women as a homogeneous category both within countries and across nation and culture. It fails to differentiate among women by class, race, ethnicity and so on. By emphasizing the special relationship of women with nature, and they imply that what men do to the earth is bad, thereby ignoring the fact that man too can develop an ethics of care and care for nature. Hence, it cannot develop an effective strategy for change since it ends in polarizing the worlds of men and women while essentializing the two categories. The model of development made a shift away from the concept of Prakriti, which is seen as a living and creative process and a feminine principle. Under the garb of development, under the grab of development, nature has been exploited mercilessly, and the feminine principle was no longer associated with activity, creativity and sanctity of life, but was considered passive and as a resource. Nature is always used as a resource, as a means but not an end. Now come to, these are some of the observations, and let me come to the proposed conclusion of my observation. Animal studies and naturalized epistemology are discovering theoretical perspectives in interspecies relationship and standpoint theory that were developed by feminists and ecofeminists long ago, I mean maybe decades ago. It is indeed true that women have accepted with apparent enthusiasm responsibility for the saving planet. This statement reflects the ecofeminist view of women as a life force by Warren. In the absence of a solution to this problem, women's struggle to safeguard the planet will remain confined to cleaning up men's masses. There have been many struggles in the context of modernization of agriculture, indiscriminate exploitation of natural resources against large multipurpose dams and river valley schemes, against pollution of air and water and so on. The example will be continued. Although women participate in this struggle like Narmada Bachao Andolan or the Andolan by Sundarlal Bahuguna, but although women participated in these struggles, these were not seen as women's movement. Women's interaction with nature and the responses to environmental degradation must be analyzed and located within the material reality of gender, caste, class. Women are victims of environmental degradation as well as active agents of the regeneration and protection of the environment. On the whole, environmental concerns have not been issues of theoretical debate within the Indian women's movement. It would in fact become more broad-based if the category women was not treated as a homogeneous category. It is the poor, lower class and the lower caste, and within them the peasant and tribal women who are worst affected, and hence they are the most active in the protest movement. Women therefore cannot be homogenized into the category either within the country or across the culture or globe. Environment and gender issues need to be taken together And the new social movement in the world seem to provide the ray of hope for change. Perhaps feminists apply their own methods reflexively and self-critically, understanding the production of knowledge to be fundamentally social and historical. Feminist philosophy provides an abundance of evidence that any perspective is partial and interested. Ecofeminists must acknowledge and address their own partiality. This is one reason why feminist philosophers have so often approached their work as a communal endeavor and a site for intellectual cross-pollination. The philosophical significance of ecofeminism is that it challenges feminism to take environmental issues seriously, environmental philosophy to take feminism seriously, and philosophy to take both seriously. According to Warren, if there must be a war, let the weapons be your healing hands, the hands of the world's women in the defense of the environment. Let your call to battle be a song for the earth. Let me end with the one of the sloka from Taittiriya Krishna Yajurveda of Taittiriya Upanishad. Let me say, Ong Sohana Bhavatu, Sahano Bhunaktu, Sahavirjyam Karavamahe, Tejasvina Vaditamastu, Ma Vidyusavahe. Om Shanti, Shanti. Thank you.
Yeah, you are complete within time. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor Lakshmi. That was very, very nice, and you have approached the problem from a different perspective, which is a need of the hour. We are grateful to you. Now, before we disperse for lunch, we'll have the pleasure of honoring our speakers. Please. Now, and I request our President Tiwari ji to honor our speakers. First, Videsh Kumar Singh ji is not here, so Professor Dilip Kumar Mohanta will be honored by our, please. Then Professor Uma Shankar ji. Yeah. Next is Professor Swamini Chaitanya Prajna. Please bring it. Yeah, sir will give. Yeah, now Laxmikanta Padhi. Sir, you receive him from. Thank you very much. I once again thank all the speakers for their wonderful presentation, and I also thank our president for chairing this session. Now we'll disperse for lunch, and after half an hour we'll meet here for an interesting ICPR sponsored seminar on Indian identity and cultural continuity.